Trump senior advisor Jason Miller. Jason, great to see you this morning. So safe to say Democrats are not liking the new NBC News poll, which shows Harris and Trump tied at 48%. That same poll 1 month ago had Harris up by 5. What is this shift signal with 21 days to go?
Good morning and great to be with you. What this shows is the momentum is all with President Trump. And over the last couple of weeks, President Trump has really honed in on his message of illegal immigration, on the border, on migrant crime, also really focusing on the economy and how he can get us back to the economy we had during his presidency. Now, it's important to note that trends are what's important. Different polls use different methodology, but in every poll across the board, President Trump is moving. He is surging. That's happening for a couple of reasons. Number one, people are starting to get to know Kamala Harris. She went into hiding for a couple of months, and people are just starting to hear the endless word salad that comes out of her mouth, the lack of ideas, the hardcore progressive things she said in the past, such as taxpayer-funded sex change surgeries for incarcerated illegal aliens. You can't make this up. If I went out and said, I want to, let's think of the craziest thing to put on an ACLU questionnaire, I couldn't even think of something that crazy. So you see the trend lines all going in the right direction. I want to point out one thing. When you see a campaign like the Harris campaign come out with brand new things or try to switch up with only several weeks to go, you know they're in trouble. So, for example, Kamala Harris, an African-American woman, is just announcing this week her plan for black men. You would think that over the last 3.5 years in the White House, maybe Kamala Harris would have put together such a plan, but she doesn't. And so President Trump is in great position with 3 weeks to go, way better than we were in 2020 or 2016.
Yeah, she only does something when she sees the writing on the wall and she sees that she's struggling right now with black men. And as we know, she's been doing a lot more media lately, but we're not really getting hard-hitting questions. We saw her on the Call Her Daddy podcast, Howard Stern, Stephen Colbert, The View. 60 Minutes, though, that wasn't as friendly as I think she would have hoped. We know she's doing more interviews this week, Jason, but are these helping her image or doing more damage? What are you guys seeing?
Yeah, it's definitely doing more damage. And who would have thought, did not have this on my campaign bingo card, that Sunny Hostin from The View would be the one to fundamentally derail Kamala Harris's presidency or candidacy for the president. And the fact that the simple question, what is it that you would have done different from Joe Biden over the past 3.5 years? And for Kamala Harris to say, well, there's nothing that comes to mind, and then only a few hours later go on Stephen Colbert and give the same answer shows just how unprepared and how unserious a candidate Kamala Harris is. There is a panic that is going on inside the Harris campaign. We're hearing reports that it's the former Obama campaign alums versus the Harris loyalists. Clearly, they're fighting. They're changing the TV ads that they have on. Sometimes they want to do interviews. Sometimes they don't. But the fundamental problem is if Kamala Harris is talking, then her campaign is going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, you're right. It does appear panic mode because she keeps changing direction. You know, every week it's something different. But then we see President Trump. He's sticking to what he's good at. He continues with his rallies. He's been having some town halls last night in Pennsylvania, another one today in Georgia. I love because people they can ask him questions. He doesn't have a script. He doesn't have a teleprompter. He just simply has conversations with Americans. And that's really one of the big things that separates him from really any other candidate or anybody running for president. How have these town halls benefited him in reaching voters?
One big word, authenticity. Because when President Trump is up there, people know that's genuinely him. I can tell you, he says the exact same thing in private that he says in public. And so you're going to get President Trump direct to the voters at all times. And the good thing is that people know where he's coming from, what he's thinking, what really drives him. We've seen it in these messages such as no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime pay, this 15% corporate tax rate, but only if you make your product here in America. People remember that they were so much better off financially just 4 short years ago that we can get back to it. And you make a really good point when it comes to whether it be a town hall or the rallies, because it's natural to him. Interacting with normal people is natural to him. That's something that Kamala Harris just simply can't do, as we've seen in interview after interview, or if her teleprompter breaks and she just stares at it saying 32, 32, 32, over and over. And you can't make this stuff up. And Kamala Harris cannot put things back on a right track with only 3 weeks to go.